So yeah, I was just thinking it is all part and parcel. So when we're looking at world events and devastating floods, uh, things being uh, put down to climate change or man's intervention, then all this ties together in the world that we live in, and that definitely to me is what blockchain is here to help with. It's a tool that can be really used to spread the decision making on a very granular level out to people like us. So rather than it all coming down mandated from above, top down governance and decision making, we can actually be involved at the ground level. And your disaster relief in New Zealand probably is some of the best in the world. The data around it was probably all very much known. The expectation of the volumes of rains coming and all that is very much known. And so, to still have 3,000 people cut off after a week of rains is just shows how vulnerable we all are, really. So, what can blockchain do to help out in those situations? I certainly know I've got my ideas. But yeah, certainly anything like that, I'm very happy to talk about beyond just the straight technical.
It shows though because of the severe weather event, and it was, like you say, human intervention with the thing. Because it's a big forestry area, and they do a thing called slashing, which is literally just take the main trunks, and leave everything else. That caused a lot of the devastation of taking out bridges and things. And, yeah, just opened the land up for
Just none of the water gets stopped, then it just rushes. So
and the soil, that was a big factor. So it was like 400 mils of rain in an hour.
400. Wow. So you were saying about 20 first time a couple of weekends ago, and 30 last weekend, but it ended up as 40. Goodness.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm sharing screen at the moment. You can see exactly what you're describing. It looks like a load of tree logs.
There's whole that they call them paddocks, whole fields where houses were on that have just been wiped out, completely gone.
Incredible. And so that road just had all its underpinnings washed out. It just looks like a wooden bridge or something, but it's incredible. So yeah, having control of some of the decision making around logging activity, things that impact the environment, just should not be in the hands of corporates. More and more, I'm realizing that a corporation, a large enterprise, is there to make money and do very little else. And whenever you've got that as your mandate, then all your decisions are going to be around personal profit. So the corporate is making money for itself, for its shareholders, and that, by its very nature, just eliminates a whole load of conscientious thought around safeguarding and sensible monetary policy. And that's how we end up with babies being rescued from rooftops in developed countries. Wow. So very glad you're safe.
We got nothing to think about for people.
Right then, let's put the world to rights and talk about blockchain. So, any big questions come up for you lot this week?
This teddy bear, obviously we registered, I think,
Yeah, no, I'm not sure exactly what's happening with the airdrop side of things. I know that there was some announcements. So certainly the participating pools who are going to be ones offering the ISPO, they got chosen, and we were in the shortlist but didn't make it to the final cut. However, a couple of my good friends did. So Room from Carpool, his pool got selected, and that was sort of the main benefit of excuse me, initiatives like this, is that you have a technology platform that's launching, you form relationships with network operators, and then you benefit the portions of the network that are least well funded. So the small stake pool operators struggle the most. They don't have the opportunity to mint blocks very regularly, if at all. And it takes a lot of traction to get up to the point where you actually are a viable node operator. And so by Teddyswap combining their oncoming interest into the ecosystem, by launching their decentralized exchange, and applying that to the internet, the network operators that they've partnered with, you get to see sudden flow of the holdings of ADA move from larger stake pools through to these smaller guys. So you can see here RSV, who I've talked about in the past. I don't know if you can see that, actually it's pretty small. RSV is a entirely solar powered stake pool. I think he's based in the US, and he's participated in other fair initial stake pool offerings, I think from MinSwap originally. Is that Carol? I think your mic's hot. I don't know if you want it to be or not, but we're hearing little bits of background noise.
Sorry.
That's quite all right. ATM pool.
Sorry.
Sounds like you're having fun. So ATM pool, that is from a guy based in UK. I was on stage with him at the Cardano Summit in London this year. Whatever it was, I can't remember when the summit was, last year I think. And that was, he also runs a sort of journalist program that's benefiting people operating anything to do with Cardano, called ADA Pulse. He's got a video series on there. We've also got Vroom Pool, and Carpool participated in an incubator for stake pool operators that Harry Hellier knows, who also is a fluid pool delegator. So he ran an incubator for getting small stake pool operators into a business mindset and thinking about how they were going to grow their pool. And so some of the initiatives that Carpool, myself, ATM, RSV have taken part in have come off about from the learning that we've done. A rabbit pool, very pleased for them. They were a tiny pool. Suddenly now they've got 134 block history, which is just ideal. So these small operators, the fact that they can mint, be given the option to mint hundreds of blocks within a few epochs, that comes off the back that they're running the infrastructure already. They are good, solid operators. They are adding to decentralization of the network. They just hadn't been given the opportunity to mint blocks before, and now that they have, because the stake is up, their infrastructure is all just working. And so the outlay, the expense they've had up front is being rewarded now, but also their efforts are justified. So it's very cool. However, in terms of just us as normal participants in Teddyswap's airdrop, I'm not seeing an awful lot of information. They have a Discord server, and I know I have seen several announcements from there, but I just haven't been able to keep up with it. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to get out of it yet. But things do take time, so we'll just see what happens. And I know that they've certainly delivered on the ISO side of things. So anybody who's staking to any of those pools that I was just talking about will be accumulating rewards, Teddyswap rewards. I'm not even sure what they're giving out, whether it's a Teddyswap token or what. Yeah, maybe Paul, if you just keep looking and I'll keep looking as well, and hopefully we'll bring something back to people to report back on. I don't think it said. I think I'm following their announcements channel, but not seeing anything come through in. So if you don't know, in the Fluid Pool Discord server, we've got a blockchain news feed that is connected to all the other Discord servers that have announcement channels that I think are worthwhile listening to and watching out for news on. So Genius Yields on there, Machiavellic. I think I could attach Teddyswap. I'll double check on that now. Cyberbugs, all these projects we've taken part in the past. Their main items of news should come through on that news feed, so that's worth keeping an eye on. I think you can actually switch on notifications just for one particular channel. So in general, I'd have all notifications off apart from direct mentions. So if I send out a message saying at everyone or at crypto investor, then everybody gets a notification. But if I just post a message, you normally wouldn't hear about it. So if you want to, you can turn on the notifications for blockchain news to keep a direct eye on news as it happens, announcements as it happens from the teams. Yeah, not seeing a lot of activity from Teddyswap there, so you probably have to go directly into their server and to find out more about it. But yeah, so far I've been impressed with them, so we'll see what comes. So any other questions came up this week? Did you?
If no one else has got one, I did post something in the tools one about doing due diligence on tokens in Cardano, because that was one thing I had up. I had looked at D Gold.
Oh, that's right.
I couldn't find anything for it.
Yeah, it is a constant challenge. So one of the things that I've started working on just this last week, in fact, was we've got tokens being dropped on Teddyswap, so Indie tokens from the Indigo platform, Indigo protocol. You were able to collect some Indie tokens if you're a delegated to Fluid Pool. You could do that through Teddyswap. We've also had the audit token, which has come from the due diligence team, Scat DAO. Their token is audit, and that was available from Teddyswap as well. We've got the smart claims platform that's been built out, and we're releasing our Gimbal tokens from there. One of the other platforms, the oldest one, most established, is DripDrops. So I've been back taking another look at DripDrops platform this last week, and it has got some really nice features now. The things that were new features that turn up in the other distribution platforms have now appeared in DripDrops as well. Tends to be that the first to market can't stay the innovator for long, and people come on and compete with new features. So one of the main ones was being able to defer your collection of tokens epoch to epoch. So now for some tokens you can do that on DripDrops as well, so you don't have to get them all at once. You can wait till the end of the ISO and then you're going to pick them up. And so the NewNet token, which I believe I talked about last week, they have the NewNet project has the NTX token. They're an artificial intelligence network infrastructure provider, and they're building out decentralized tools so that people can run AI infrastructure in a distributed fashion, which is exactly what we want. So their NTX token, they launched initially on Teddyswap. One of the requirements was that you had to have 10,000 NTX in your wallet to be able to then collect the additional NTX tokens as part of your airdrop. You also had to have some ADA in there, as well, 100 ADA or something. So those requirements were there in paper, but actually on the implementation on Teddyswap, it seemed like that wasn't working. So people were able to collect even if they weren't original holders of NTX. So they've switched platforms, as far as I can see. They haven't said it overtly, but they've switched platforms for that reason. So now on DripDrops, you can collect your NTX tokens. And so some of the new features that I found on NTX is that they have this this multi-drip feature now. So if you are a pro DripDrops participant, you can register an account, sign in, and have access to dripping all your preferred. You can create favorite lists of the tokens that you want. You can get them sent to an individual wallet as and when you want them. You can also attach multiple wallets to your DripDrops Pro account and have all your favorite tokens collected by all the wallets that are eligible for it. So suddenly you've turned what was a really tedious task of going every 5 days and collecting tokens from 5 different wallets, however many you've got. You can now actually do it all at once in an automated fashion from DripDrops. So that's very cool. You still have to go every 5 days, but you're doing one instruction to grab all your tokens down from all your wallets. So I thought that was quite an impressive addition.
So is that something that we can do?
Yeah. So the conditions for being having access to the Pro account is that you have to pay 10,000 drip tokens for the privilege, and about 2 ADA, something like that. Now the benefit of volatility in crypto is that the drip token is currently on a slide. So if you want to get in now, it'll cost you about 8 ADA or something to have a Pro account on DripDrops, which of course at the price of ADA being still down below 40, or at 40 cents at the moment, is still a very cheap way of getting in. So I would probably recommend doing it. Now I did want to show you the drip. I'm screen sharing for anyone that's not looking already. So there's a stream in the Discord windows to see what I'm looking at, and so you can see this is the drip chart. So running back for the past several months, their token has been dropping steadily from its all-time high. So certainly it's on sale at the moment, and I think with the functionality that the team are putting out, the people involved in that team are really high quality people. Andrew Westberg, for example, is a really important player in the Cardano ecosystem. He's done the most for building out tools for stake pool operators, as much as anybody, certainly, and he produces a lot of really good video content. And so, him being in that team and building out this infrastructure with his infrastructure is called Firehose, and so DripDrops is built on top of Firehose, and that's what managed it. So I think this token is probably worth getting a hold of now if you're going to get it at any point, and certainly as it's got utility, it's a worthwhile thing to grab. So this week I got myself, I already had 2,000 drip tokens. I got myself another 10,000 for about 8 ADA. Bought them and then paid for my Pro account on the DripDrops platform so I can do multi-drip and keep favorite lists of all the tokens and things like that. So, at the price of 0.0004 ADA compared to its sort of typical price last summer at the peak of the market was 0.0029. So that's a good, 10x difference. So worth getting hold of perhaps now, especially if you want to participate in their DripDrops platform by using some of their more advanced features. So you can add multiple wallets in here. You can set up your favorite lists and then get them all grabbed at once. And the favorite list is a very important feature because they have got massive amount of tokens on here available to collect for free from pretty much every wallet. Now, this is what Paul's question was about. How do you do due diligence on these tokens? And some of them, it doesn't take very long. You just have to look at the token image related to it, and you know it's a meme coin, and very few meme coins come to anything. You can even filter by meme coins. Do you see the ones that are humorous to you? I'll just check my drops. You can see that I can currently grab 4 of my favorite tokens. So I did due diligence on these, and what I look out for is there a real project behind the token? Have they got actual utility? Have they got large exposure in the ecosystem already? Or are they promising really valuable utility? So in this case, we've got cornucopias, and they've produced an awful lot of artwork, some video, a lot of hype successfully around the launch of their multiverse game cornucopias. Their Copy token launched a long time ago now, 2.5 years, something like that. Launched first as an ERC20 token on Ethereum, and then they launched their ADA version, Cardano version, and yeah, you can go and grab some for free. The game itself is looking really good. Their graphics are really impressive. So Copy tokens, I think, will do well on the back of the Cornucopia's game doing well. So I think that's worth getting hold of for effectively free, just being dripped out of the DripDrops platform. Husky token has absolutely zero worth. Its planned amount of worth throughout its lifestyle is 0. It plans never to make any money. Certainly that's what Husky, the dog who runs it all, promises. A meme coin with 0 value and nothing useful to say. But of course, along with that, he's got an undercurrent of message of decentralization, and has garnered a whole load of attention. He's sitting he won a seat on the latest version of the Catalyst circle, which is like the governance board well, not the governance board, it's a problem sensing body as part of the Cardano community. The Project Catalyst needed people who were in the community rather than just in IOG to be interacting and making decisions around the Catalyst platform, and so that body is elected by the community. DripDrops platform themselves ran the vote for it this last time, and so there was a far greater participation in the voting platform. We got a much wider distribution of candidates in that Catalyst circle, and Hosky was one of them. And so now I get his token not because I think it's ever going to be worth anything, but just I appreciate what he's doing to drive forward people recognizing pump and dump schemes, spotting meme coins that have no value, and also his participation in governance and lending his voice and his exposure, his platform to small stake pool operators. He's very good for them in particular, and yeah, so I think that token's worth getting hold of. And it's long as I wouldn't go out and overtly try and collect them, but if you get them for free, then it doesn't really matter. The Drip token itself, because the DripDrops platform has some utility for that token already. You can buy the Pro version if you own the Drip token, so you might as well grab some of that. And from launch, the Drip token, certainly the cost in ADA you got from participating and collecting these tokens, the amount you got in Drip token was actually had more value in ADA than the amount you were expending. So initially, you were up every time you participated. Of course, you've seen the drop in the token that I just showed you, the token value since then. So it's not, you do pay for the privilege, a small amount of ADA to collect these tokens, but some of them are valuable and you can get decent amounts. So particularly if there's an Earndrop or an airdrop going on, you can go and grab Sunday tokens from the platform, for example. So if you participated in staking to any of the ISO pools that were part of the Sunday swap you can collect them from the DripDrops platform, and then while you're there, you can get some others as well. Giro token is related to the Giro wallet, which is a very strong wallet that's being gaining traction. Really, they have a verified Apple iPhone wallet now. Android, I think, is still coming, but you can get the Android one straight from their website, certainly, as well as a typical DApp. So you've got you've got certain wallets and infrastructure providers growing out the things on the platform that I think will do really well. So, getting their token again could be worth something at some point in the future. Now down to the other hundreds of other tokens. So the Fire token, I think, may be related to the Summon project. However, I know that the Summon token is actually a legitimate one. I haven't looked into it beyond just the same color being used, and it feels like the same branding. So you could look into the Summon project, see if they're related to the Fire token at all. Each of these tokens on the platform, DripDrops platform, has got a page of its own, with links off to the websites, Discords, and the Twitters, and you can go and check out how they're doing. You've got a chart on the tokens as well to see if they've got any tradable value going on the decentralized exchanges. You can make a judgment about whether you think they're worth anything currently or maybe worth anything in the future. 200 ADA worth of this token being traded, 800 on Wing Riders. You can see they've got some volume. 800 ADA is not nothing, but it's a very, very small amount of volume to be traded. So not worth anything in and of its own right now, but perhaps down the road it might be. So it looks like this doesn't have anything to do with the Summon project. I imagine it's probably this stake pool operator's own token. So you must remember that anybody who has got some technical nous can release a token on the Cardano, a native token on the Cardano blockchain. So I could show you in 5 minutes how you could create your own token and distribute it. So it's very easy, very low barrier to entry, and which means that none of these tokens have real value until they've proven it by having volume on exchanges or offering some utility or some governance features to them. So I have looked through all these other projects. Like, some people even take names of other things. Project Catalyst Proposal SSL Blitz token. I don't think that's got any legitimate affiliation with Project Catalyst. So you do have to be a bit suspicious, be a bit doubtful that anything will come of any of these. But some of them are fun to look at. So really, it's just a matter of. I do know that at Doja, they're producing Internet of Things devices that will talk and work with the blockchain. They've got some recent activity that seems to be picking up a bit of pace, which is really good. They're looking at creating a blockchain or crypto-funded 3D printer network. So if you have a 3D print design you want printed out, you can submit it to the Doja network and have your device printed locally, which I think is a really innovative idea. Manufacturing on demand is a thing that's going to become more and more real and prevalent. And if you break a bit off your washing machine, you can go and download the 3D. Some enthusiast will create a 3D diagram drawing of that piece. You can take that to a 3D printer and get your plastic piece reproduced for you, and that right to repair industry should hopefully pick up off the back of things like Doja are doing with their network. There's a lot of stake pool operators who run their own tokens. So Yusko, he's also a Machiavellic partner pool. So I think he's in the hardliner faction, just like we are. I think it was Uscal pool, Hero, and Fluid pool in the hardliners. Hero pool, I mentioned them. They run fundraising activities for firefighters in North America. And Uscal, I haven't actually looked into them, but I do know he's a hardliner, so he's probably worth having a look. Whether his token will be worth anything, who knows. You've got Kaizen Crypto, runs a very successful YouTube channel all around Cardano education. OG in the space, participated in the incentivized testnet back in the day. So yeah, it might be worth something. I don't know. But anyway, you can see here the top list of tokens that get withdrawn. So that's a quick filter, get some community knowledge on what they rate as a valuable token. And certainly you can see Cornucopias up top there, Hosky just because it's a lot of fun. A Doja, like I was mentioning, with this 3D printing initiative that's going on at the moment, and some of these other tokens, Giro Wallet, etc. That's one way of doing it. You can look at my favorite tokens. Now I can't actually remember how you manage your favorites.
There's one in there called I think it's Battle Borgz, of course. That seems quite an active community.
Okay, let's have a look.
I've got them obviously on Discord. I'm watching them and just comment every single day from them. So there's quite a lot that seems to be going on.
Busy. Okay, that's good. Borg. I'm gonna find them. This one.
Yeah, Battle Borgz. That's it. Battle Borgz.
Cool. So it's a multiplayer and blockchain gain, play to earn. They were looking to have something launched by the end of 2022. So I don't know if they're on schedule. They've got an NFT program out. The volume on the exchanges is very low. I recognize that logo actually now. I've seen it, but probably only from seeing them on these distribution platforms. You can see by the volume of tokens being released, how much you value their token. Often that's an indicator. You can go and see what their total available supply is, and compare that to the amount that they're giving out for free on their platform. It may be an unlimited supply, and they could always mint more. Some of the game tokens operate like that.
Yeah, I think you could pick up like 20,000. So yeah.
And each one is worth 0.00001 ADA.
For about 20 years, I should get maybe 1 cent.
Yeah. That's that current market valuation, but you never know. As soon as the game launches, it could rocket. So that's why you're speculating on future value by looking at these distribution platforms. Is sometimes it's just a way of showing support for a project that you like the look of. And yeah, there's a nice artwork going on here. They've put the effort into producing an NFT collection. They've done 2 with actual cartoon characters and then 3D characters themselves. And that doesn't look like AI generated art, which I do like to see. They've actually got artists involved in producing their work. And their tokenomics don't mention the total supply here. Oh yes, each one's got a figure on it. So yeah, a massive amount of tokens available. And their team's got 20% of them. So yeah, might be worth something at some point. But that's the thing to sort of look at, see how much is being retained by the team. I like to see a percentage sort of between 5 and 20% really is a maximum. Any more than that, you're at the mercy of the token gaining in some value and then the team selling what they hold and sucking the value out of the market if they haven't got a decent vesting schedule in place. Those 2 guys, certainly, at least. Yeah, I'd be happy to support a project like this. They're obviously doing a lot of hard work. Been working, building for a year. Probably very little return in the meantime. If they're active on their Discord server as well, then yeah, nice one to spot. Thanks, Paul. So yeah, that's what I do. And then, you know, I do end up with a sort of list of favorites that I now just discard all of them apart from my favorites. Don't even bother looking at them because I don't have enough time in my life. Yeah, so if you are interested in the multi-drip features in here, then yeah, go and check it out and see what you think. I was very impressed with them building out this infrastructure for the voting. I think that's a really generous activity. They've spent developer time on building out infrastructure for Project Catalyst unfunded. So hopefully they'll get some funding back from it down the road retrospectively. But they did the work up front, which I think is always... I mean, it's not something I like to see because I think people should be paid for the work. But if someone does do work up front, then I do believe they should be rewarded if it's of value. Cool. Any other topics you guys wanted to talk about?
You said that for the AGIX token, 10,000 drips you need, yeah?
So you need to hold 10,000 NTX tokens in your wallet already. So you need to go and buy those to then be eligible for the Earndrop. So if you've got 10,000 NTX tokens in your wallet plus 150 ADA, then you can go to the DripDrops platform and collect more over the next 10 epoch or 8 epochs, you'll be collecting more NTX tokens. So you'll just be able to increase the amount of NTX you already hold. But you do have to buy the initial lot themselves. Is that clear?
Okay. I thought that it's because of the drip, I buy more NTX.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the issue on the Teddyswap platform was that you could get the NTX without owning any already, and one of their requirements was that you need to have invested in the project to be eligible to receive more air tokens dropped to you. And I think that wasn't working on Teddyswap, and now it's moved to DripDrops, and you can get them from there. But either way, you should have bought the 10,000 to begin with.
Okay. Great.
So they're using it as a sort of reward mechanism for people who've invested in their project, and you know, they're a serious project. So, you know, I say that and everybody's building in this space is serious about their work, but you know, there's a degree of importance around new network that's greater than Borgz, for example. The network will continue and without Borgz, but it may not. You know, certainly the decentralized approach of building out infrastructure for artificial intelligence, you know, will hugely, you know, it goes back to the beginning of the call when we were talking about, you know, granular voting voices being heard in every area of society, you know, whether that be about local issues or global ones. If we don't have a decentralized artificial intelligence, all we will have are centralized artificial intelligences. And any artificial intelligence that is centralized has the likelihood of having a hidden agenda. So you've seen the launch of ChatGPT, which was an open source initiative initially, by OpenAI. There were several participants on there. The project got invested in heavily by Microsoft. So now it's pretty much a Microsoft project. And Microsoft have launched their Bing search engine as the first major search engine to have AI features built into it. So you can use Bing now to in a large language model way. So you go and ask questions like you would of any other human. So more like a chatbot than a typical Google search. So you can search on Bing as you always have been able to with the straight keyword search, but then now you can also add sentences. So it's a prompt engine. So effectively, you feed it with the sort of information you want to get back from it, and it will then give you results. In fact, has anybody not seen ChatGPT yet, or a large language model AI in operation? Because it's fascinating. If you haven't, are you interested? Okay, let's.
Yeah, definitely interested.
Okay, cool. So the one that I use I go straight to source at the moment for ChatGPT, which is produced by the OpenAI team, which is Microsoft funded. So I haven't used the embedded version in Bing yet, but I do have a beta access to this platform, and it is fascinating how it works. So let's see if I can. Because I had signed up previously, I'm hoping I can still get in on this new browser session. I could probably get in on my other one if not. Let me just try it from here. No, I'm going to be quick. I'm just jumping back to my other one. So.
For ChatGPT, do you need to download something, or you can just like
No, so it's a proprietary language model that you can't download as of yet because it's got intellectual property that is owned by OpenAI. You can pretty much hear Microsoft every time I say OpenAI now. So you don't download it; you use it like a website. Oh, let me switch the what I'm sharing. So I need to change to this one. OpenAI. So it's very busy. People get onto it on a massive scale, so it might just be the Bing one that's available most of the time now. But this sort of the raw interface to it here has a bit more features. So you can see it retains your search history, your chat history, and you can ask it anything you want. So let's start up a new conversation. What should we ask about?
It will be in 10 years.
Yeah. So I'm typing. Are you seeing that light? Is that not quite large enough? That'd be better. What's your prediction for cryptocurrency? And instantly it comes back with an answer, and it's full, well-formed English. So he says you can't make precise predictions based on past performance and trends. In the next 10 years, it's possible they could be more mainstream, widely accepted. So a lot of it's sort of generic, woolly language, but you can then hone it down into particular areas because it refers back in the conversation to previous topics to refine it. So it's basically saying it depends. So you can then say things like, what do you know about Cardano and its future value?
Sell.
Yeah, that would be concerning. And this language model was trained on vast amounts of data up until 2021. So it's not got the most recent stuff, and can't answer questions on current internet activity. The Bing version probably can, excuse me. But it's still got an awful lot of knowledge that's useful to you. So Cardano's seen significant growth, launched in 2017. It's one of the largest, one of the top 5 by market cap. And so this is a very good research tool if you just want rapid information on a particular subject. And it, you know, you can really use it to do anything that you want. So the threat to education is huge, because I've learned more from this, my few weeks using this, than I have from years of using what's the word I'm trying to look for? Education sites. So I've had subscriptions to learning platforms in the past where you had to go on, sit through tutorials, follow some kind of curriculum, and you come out with knowledge at the end of it. That to me is a very linear way of learning around a particular topic that I had to be really interested in to actually get in traction with. However, if I'm just having a casual conversation, then I learn much more easily, and I follow the rabbit hole down the paths that I want to learn, and that creates more interest. It's like having your own personal tutor rather than sitting in a classroom along with other kids. And it can do creative things as well, remarkably well. So we could say, write a haiku on the virtues of Cardano, and it's taken that sentence, figured out what a haiku is, knows about Cardano. Blockchain with a heart, secure, scalable, efficient. Cardano shines bright. So that, and then you can say, well, now write that. The Shakespearean sonnet. And instantly it'll come back with, sometimes it thinks a bit, but comes back with a pretty acceptable bit of poetry. So this is the huge difference between a chatbot of, a year ago to a chatbot now. Your experience with chatbots have been horrible to date. You only realize now you're speaking to an actual AI-driven one rather than just a pre-scripted one. Because there is no linear path through it. It's open, and you can go any direction you want in your conversation, and it reveals a whole load of truth and knowledge that can be gleaned just from understanding how sentence structures work. And that's how the engine's working. It's just looking at sentence structures, getting the crux of the matter out of your question and about the prompts that you're giving it, and then using that to perform searches effectively in the background on the keywords that you've pulled out, and then aggregating those and putting them back into the language model to produce content out of it. So you've got content, language parsing going on, as well as language creation, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. And this is now mainstream, and off the back of it, as an investor, we've seen spikes of 80% in the AI associated tokens. So AGIX, which I've been speaking about for a couple of years, the NTX token, which is NewNet, their token has spiked off the back of it because they're producing decentralized AI infrastructure. They don't have a saleable product at the moment, but they're in the field. They're working, they're building, they're raising funds, and so you can benefit from being aware of the cutting edge, the bleeding edge at times, speculating on a way of investing in those industries very early on with a small amount of money, and some of them will reap huge rewards. Most won't, but some will. And so AGIX, NTX, they're great tokens just to try now. I mean, and we've seen them pump 80%, but that's not the long-term picture. Even if they have now, if you're still buying in the bottom of the bear market at the launch of a new technology, in 10 years' time, those tokens could be worth 10 times, 30, 100 times more than they are currently. And as an investor, that's the way you secure your future and your children's future, is by learning, being aware, looking around, listening to people who are building in these industries, seeing how this is impacting the growth and direction that technology is taking, and responding accordingly. So yeah, there we go. Anybody impressed by OpenAI's ChatGPT? It's a phenomenal model.
The West Australian Education Department's actually banned using GP Chat in schools in WA. I don't know how they're going to monitor it, but yeah, when they saw this come out before school started back, it's a full-on ban. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, you can do so much with them. Pulls everything from the internet. You can write books. You can write, spiels for real estate sales. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, there's no human element to it, so it is only pulling out from what's on the internet. But yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It is, and these bans will last for, I don't know, at the rate things are going, maybe 6 months, and then people will just realize there is no way of putting the genie back in the bottle. It's out there now. The kids know about it, and they will use it to batter everybody who doesn't adopt it. It's like the launch of the calculator. Some teachers are still, angry about it, but we need to move on. We have access to tools. As human beings, we build tools, and our tools let us leverage our capabilities, 100 times. And, the calculator did that maybe 100 times. Having access to large language model, ChatGPT type things will leverage our current position by 1,000 times. My ability to appear as an expert in a niche suddenly, goes up 1,000 times to what I could, only 6 months ago. I can spend a week researching a particular niche with ChatGPT and producing blog posts and tweets and a website and have a very impressive looking bulk of information, and I would retain it a lot in my own head, but that research, it's given you an army of researchers that you just didn't have before, and you pick the right subjects and you become an expert in them, and you share that knowledge, will give you a massive advantage over people who have done it the long way through university and a career in academia. It's a massive disrupting force.
Yeah, I think if there were shares in Grammarly, it's about time to start buying them, because I think that's going to become the big thing for teachers. My biggest concern, I suppose, with something like this, and it's an area I've been involved with, is that dementia. One of the things with the dementia is that we don't retain information, because we're so used to, we don't remember telephone numbers like we used to. We just don't remember stuff. So we go, I'll just check that on Google. So they're saying in Australia itself, like 50% of, in the next couple of years, 50% of everyone over the age of 65 will have some sort of dementia.
Wow. And
this is actually going to promote that, because people are going to go, I don't have to remember anything because I can just go and Google it. So that's always a big concern for me, is that those dementia type, Alzheimer's and other ones, actually become worse, because we've got all this technology that's actually taking over that memory of the brain, because we can just go and click a button, it's there, and then forget it. We don't actually have to retain anything.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And it's very indicative of the impact of technology on our wider health as well. So, not remembering things is not good. Also, not looking at things is not good. Even in the last couple of weeks, that's something that struck me, is that if you're not looking long distance for most of your day, then you're damaging your eyesight long term. So all the screen usage we're doing, not on a how it impacts your current mood or anything like that. Just physically being able to focus, defocus, motion track, has a massive impact on the capabilities of the eye as you're growing older. And so, what are we turning ourselves into? Half blind, demented sacks of flesh. You can't do much more than sit on a chair in front of a screen. So the whole Wall-E cartoon, not cartoon, 3D illustrated animation, that's coming true for us. We're by and large shoppers. We're sitting in our automated chairs, being pushed around and and fed at will and at whim. So yeah, I definitely agree with you that in that case there could be an issue here with not exercising your brain and your memory capabilities of the brain in particular, which are detrimental. But just as we had to learn to survive, with the calculator over the abacus or the slide rule, the abilities that AI give us are too large to be ignored. They're out there now, so we have to find a way to adapt. And if it becomes, you're using your memory to know where to go to get the information, that's still some form of exercise. Remembering by rote certainly has its usefulness, and just like remembering people's names when you met someone physically. Remembering their names when they're out of context is very difficult for me. So, if you see your neighbor in the supermarket, sometimes it's hard to remember, where that face has come from. But actually, it's the guy you saw walk his dog past your window every day. And all these sorts of things are exercises for your brain and produce different pathways and different capabilities in your brain. So yeah, the adaptation that we're going to have to do to be able to move from being able to memorize textbooks and relay them to having access to them and referencing them, it's a different skill set. Hopefully we'll find a way to combat the effects of early onset dementia that can arise off the back of it. But I love hearing about that. Thank you, Carol. So I was going to show the let me jump back to the other screen now. That one? No. So if we look at the AGIX token, which is Singularity Net's main token, and Singularity Net don't have a saleable product yet. They are building, and they're widely known in the space. They've got very strong academic contributions, but they haven't produced anything that sells. And yet you can see their price back in June of last year is 0.08 ADA per AGIX. They had their move from ERC20 to ADA to Cardano. I think that was in October, and the price jumped from 0.1 up to 0.3. But then the peak it reached was 0.16, and then ChatGPT news came out, and people started to see the technology and the capabilities of it, and all AI associated tokens then had this launch. So that's 6 times jump in the first run up, and then a subsequent one that was another doubling again. So you've got huge amounts of value added to, an AI development house that hasn't delivered yet. That's 867% in space of, since the start of the year alone. So again, you might think you're too late, but there's a lot of room to grow still in a very early industry. 127% in this month alone. So from here, it's certainly settled down. But when Google released their AI equivalent, in fact, they had an early release and they canned it because it wasn't very good. When that one comes out and starts to, when you've got Bing being replaced by large language model search, and Google's search box then is augmented with natural language searching, then suddenly you've got everybody being exposed to it across the world, and I'm sure we'll see another spike. So, don't throw everything at it, but I think it's worth holding on to some of these tokens that are AI related, because there is growth to come still. In my opinion, not advice. Hi.
So where do you get the AGIX token from?
So it's available on the dexes on Cardano. Does it tell me here which dexes have it? I know it's on MinSwap. And of course, in Cardano, like just using MuesliSwap, which is a DEX aggregator, you can see the price of tokens from all the different exchanges. So if you've got a ADA and you want to buy some AGIX, so you could swap out 100 ADA and get 90 AGIX tokens even now. So yeah, do what you want with that information, but it's certainly an interesting token to look at. Now, in correlation, just like in in Cardano, we've got Project Catalyst, which is the sort of grant and fund application and platform for building out infrastructure and technology and applications in the Cardano blockchain. AGIX have a deep fund that's related to funding anything building in and around SingularityNet. SingularityNet is going to be a cross-chain implementation, when it reaches maturity. So it's going to continue to interoperate with Ethereum and Cardano and any other chain that needs it to, because it's an AI platform, not a blockchain platform. It's using the power of blockchain to build out its economics model and to decentralize its infrastructure and its operations. But the technology itself is not directly related to blockchain. It's just leveraging blockchain to democratize artificial intelligence, which is a very important thing to happen in my mind. So if we've got projects in Project Catalyst struggling to get funded, then you can try them in the deep fund from SingularityNet as well. And Catalyst Swarm have built out the sort of community side of the Project Catalyst. So they provide the guys who do the after town hall sessions and record a lot of the videos, the community videos. You've got QA DAO, which documents all the goings on in and around the Cardano ecosystem, decision making, in particular Catalyst Circle. You've got all the different town halls around the world, around the language zones in the world. They have their activity all related back to Swarm again as well. And so all this large network of people and operators are now helping build out the same level of network growth and interoperability and communications for Singularity Net. So we've got Singularity Swarm forming now, already helping people put proposals together, educating people on how to get involved in grant funding applications and so on and so forth. So there's a cross-chain, cross community collaborative mindset that is embedded in blockchain people. You want to be resilient, you want to be helping others, and that's showing itself now with the building out of Deep Fund as well as Project Catalyst. So I'm very excited to see that happening, and yeah, you may want to check out that as well. So you can go and see Singularity, can't spell. You can check out deepfunding.ai as an indication of, you think where the Cardano Project Catalyst ecosystem is now, with over 400 real projects having been delivered by this treasury. You can go and see the size of Deep Funding comparison, which is tiny. Catalyst is giving away 16 million every quarter, US dollar value. Deep Fund has maybe got 100,000 in total across its projects, across its grants, but that is going to grow with the same community, probably faster, because it's got a whole lot more interoperability than a single blockchain has. So I think that's a very good platform to get aware of, be looking into, keeping an eye on, seeing what projects are being birthed out of this Deep Fund. And they're the ones to watch on. So just like we've been talking about cornucopias and Meld and Jed, all spawning, and attracting $20 million of investment into the Cardano ecosystem in a matter of days. That same sort of flow of funds, I'm sure, will be happening into the AI space, into the Deep Fund Singularity Net space in a year's time. So there's huge amounts of opportunity, things to get involved in, to be a part of, and also to be helping share with your friends and family to keep them up to date on what's happening out in the world. So let me drop that into the chat as well. In fact, I've done a very poor job of dropping any links in the thing today, so let me get some of these for you. Any other questions, any other topics you want me to have a look at? Unet?
So good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Actually, Utan, Jaya, there's another Cardano gathering in London on the 11th of March, I think it is. So if you're able to come out to that, that would be very cool. I think I'm hoping to come down, so bear that in mind.
Where is
I haven't seen the location yet. I think it's not in the same place as it was last time. They found a bigger venue, I think. But there is there's a meetup page. Let me get a link to that too. Is the one? Oh, we're on the website. 11th of March, yes. Heist Bank. I don't know where Heist Bank is. Do you know that?
Yeah. Maybe start somewhere.
We can have a look.
No idea where it is.
Battle Borgz I talked about. Teddyswap we looked at as well. Cool. So yeah, I'd encourage you to go and have a play with the large language model. Because it's going to be everywhere very soon. And it is hitting mainstream news regularly now as well. So a lot of controversy around it, of course, as it was with anything large disruptive technology, but it's going to make a huge difference to people. So you have to find a way to make it a positive change for you and those around you.
Yeah, definitely. That's good. Yeah, we're definitely interested to join. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Any other questions, or should we wrap it up for the day? I was supposed to be doing the another sweepstake, another wheel of fortune, and I've forgotten to grab the names out of last week's video.
On the video.
So whoever was in the call last week, I would enter into the. I can see your video. Yeah, that's cool. I would enter into the wheel of fortune, but I've forgotten to get the names together. So maybe I should just defer, as we're late in already. Yeah, I'll do that for next week. I'm not going to be fast enough getting that together.
Even if we'll know when that happens, because it seems like something seems secure, and then
in fact,
2 years,
that was one thing I did want to do.
Later, all of a sudden, it's hacked.
Well, that's one thing I did want to share with you was last week we were talking about Jed and Coty and the Shen token quite a bit. There's been a very useful follow-up video interview with Shahaf from the Coty team, done by Cardano with Paul. Paul's an Irishman who does a very good job at interviewing people, projects around space. And one of his videos in particular I thought was useful for you to, if you are looking at Shen, Coty, Jed, that ecosystem, then that'd be a very worthwhile video for you to have a look at. So let me drop that link into chat as well. Goes through other opportunities for earning on out of that ecosystem, which is what we were talking about last time. You seem to be at 90 degrees though, Utan. I don't know why you're twisted on your side. Yeah, that's fine. So any other questions, or has that covered enough topics for today?
Not focused on me, Jonathan. Another interesting evening.
Cracking. All right, I think we'll
Interesting indeed.
wrap it up there.